You hear that? That amp buzz is ridiculous. It's absolutely horrendous. Even if I turn my volume all the way off, still there. And it absolutely ruins all of my recordings. Today, I'm going to show you how to take your amplifier and get it from sounding like this to sounding like this. This is a noise suppressor pedal, specifically the Boss NS2, which is supposed to be an industry standard. They have released a brand new pedal within the last year or two called the NS1X, which I am thinking about buying, but we'll see. Essentially, its job is to listen for guitar sound and go, cool, that's perfect, send that through to the amplifier. And it's also supposed to listen to the amp buzz sound and go, nope, no thank you, get rid of that. So I think it's something to do with the frequencies. When you're playing guitar, you're up here with these frequencies, the suppressor goes, we're good. When there's just amp buzz, you're down here with these frequencies, and the suppressor goes, no, get rid of it, let's suppress that unwanted noise. That is its job. That's how it works, and that is essentially how I've gotten my guitar to sound like this. So, volume's all the way on. Now the simple answer is to get one of these pedals and just chuck it into your pedal board. I might be buying one of these soon, but before you spend $350 on a guitar pedal, let me first show you what you can do with some of the software that you might have available from your amplifier, and you could probably even download a noise suppressor and put it into a digital chain or something when recording. But let's just focus on what I have and see if you're able to do the exact same thing. Now my amplifier is the Boss Katana Mark II. This came with some brilliant software, and all I need to do is plug the USB-B cable, I think, plug that from into the back of the amp and then into the computer. And I get access to this. This is the Boss Katana Studio, the free software that you get when you purchase the Boss Katana amplifier. Now this allows me to do two things. First, which is really cool, I have access to a digital version, but I have access to the majority of the pedals that Boss make. So in my boosters, I can get basic treble boosters and stuff like that. But if I scroll down, there's a tube screamer, there's distortion, there is the Boss Metal Zone pedal, there's the HM2. In my effects, I've got tremolo, vibratos, there's phases, flanges, choruses, I've got wah-wah stuff, octave pedals, guitar sims, a whole bunch of different stuff, all on offer using this software. The second thing is it allows me to make very precise adjustments to my tone. Now on the left, I have got these 5 different options. These are my 4 presets. So I've got a clean preset that's just, basic tone with a lot of reverb. Then I've got rock, which I made inspired off of sort of like a Foo Fighters Dave Grohl tone. Then my metal tone, which is in between Metallica and Slipknot and System of a Down. That I have not adjusted with a noise suppressor. And then I got my blues tone, which is sort of Stevie Ray Vaughan blues stuff. The panel, FYI, is just the basic physical knobs and buttons on the actual amplifier itself. And I can see here that in my equalizer, my treble is at 98. Which means when I've sat back in my chair and put my feet up, I've knocked the knob. So watch this, as I adjust the physical knob on the amplifier, that will drop back. There we go, 80%. I might save that before we do anything else. When recording, I use my 4 presets, but when I'm just playing the guitar, I usually keep it on just the panel setting, which I've titled pedal, because when I'm just playing my guitar, I've got my guitar pedals right next to me. So when I'm playing with all my pedals, my overdrive, distortion, reverb, delay and everything, that's come undone. All of those, when I'm using my pedals, I do so just using the basic panel, the basic tone of the amplifier. But again, when recording, I've got my presets. Now let's go to the metal preset and listen through that amp buzz again. Now, as I mentioned, I do have access to a whole bunch of different Boss pedals. And that made me think, I wonder if a noise suppressor is available. It wasn't But then I took a little scroll. Effects, that's all my things that I can, all my different pedals and stuff. Then I've got my chain, where each of these effects sit with the amp EQs and everything. Then I've got my boosters, mods, and I can make adjustments to all of these sorts of things. And then I got to here, NS, and I thought, Noise Suppressor. Let me actually confirm this before I say anything. Boss Katana Mark II, September of 2022. Wow, okay. So I've had this amplifier for 3 years, and this is the first time that I've discovered that. With the noise suppressor, there are 2 things that I can adjust here in the software, which is the main thing that you want to be adjusting on your pedal or on your own software if you can get some, which is your threshold and your release. The threshold is how much amp buzz there needs to be for the noise suppressor to turn on, and then the release is how quickly the noise suppressor does turn on. So threshold at 80, if it was down, just lost my pick, if it was down to 0, constant amp buzz. The more I increase, the more the suppressor activates, and then around about the 80 threshold mark is when it's non-existent. The release, if I have it on 0, sounds like that, which means the noise suppressor is immediately activating. The second that the guitar stops and the amp buzz begins, it shuts off the amp buzz. If that was at 100, it gets there eventually. And there you have your noise suppressors. I understand, I get it. I know that it took a little second for me to get to the main point of the video, but I just got invested into what I was talking about. So long story short, if you've got a lot of amp buzz that is ruining your recordings and the sound of you playing and everything, noise suppressor. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. To fix amp buzz, all you need is a noise suppressor. If you have any other suggestions for people, let me know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.